Hey everybody, welcome to the At Home with Melissa channel. I want to share with you something today that you might think is premature. As you can see, this little pond of mine is not completed yet. But look at that little hornet getting a drink, or the yellow jacket getting a drink out of the water. The reason I want to share it with you today is that there's something really exciting going on with this pond. Now, if you look about midway across where there's a leaf floating, you can see a little frog swimming there. See, he's just now coming up out of the water on the right hand side of the pond. I'm not sure if these, I've been trying to identify these guys, but I haven't had too many good looks at them. So I'm thinking possibly, they have a blunt nose, looks like a white underbelly. There are 4 of them in here. There's one I can see now that just came above the water. Rock you can see on the far end in the water, left-hand side. There's another frog that just came up. And I don't know if these guys are leopard frogs, bullfrogs, green frogs. I do not know what these guys are. I've been looking and trying to identify them. Haven't managed it yet, but I'll keep you posted, let you know what that is. I mean, what's so exciting about them being in here is the fact that, first of all, I've only been working on this pond this year. It's not completed yet. I'm going to cover everything with rocks that I pick up here and there and get it really natural looking so you can't see the tarp. And then it'll be done. But I'm just working on it. It hasn't been here except for this year. And the frogs have come. Why that is so incredibly cool to me is that I've been in this neighborhood for almost 50 years, 47 years, my whole life. I've spent great amounts of time here. I'm an outdoor person. I have never before seen any amphibians in this neighborhood except for one oh, there's another one. A third one just came to the surface on the right-hand side in the foreground, near the foreground. And there was a toad who lived in my garden for a few years. I think he was an old guy, and we had a really hard freeze a couple of winters ago. I don't know if he didn't dig himself down deeply enough and he froze or what happened, but he was an old bullfrog, and you know, he's not around anymore. I haven't seen him. So these guys here, 4 of them in my tiny little pond that's about probably 3.5 feet long by 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide, something like that. I don't know. It's not very big. It's small, and it's only about 1.5 feet deep. And I have these frogs coming before the pond is even finished. And I got a good picture of them that I'm going to use as the thumbnail for this video. But what I want to do is to tell you a few things about how you could make a pond that's like the one this will be when it's done. I didn't want to wait till it's done because I'm too excited. I wanted to show you the frogs. And basically all it was I dug a little hole in the yard because I needed some dirt. And I came to a level of clay in this part of the yard, which I hadn't hit anywhere else. But in this part of the yard, I came to some clay. I stopped digging. I threw a tarp over the hole just so that I wouldn't fall in the hole not seeing it. And then I felled a tree that fell across the hole. All right, so that sat there for, I'll bet 6 months. And it hollowed itself out into the shape you see now. So what I did is I just pushed the tarp down into the hole and lined the bottom and sides with rocks so that it will retain its shape. And now I'm covering the tarp with the rocks so that you eventually won't see the tarp at all. And this summer is when I started putting the rocks around it, and I went and I got a little bit of frog bit. That's the small plant you see floating on the top. It looks like duckweed. It's not duckweed. It's called frog bit. And I have these 4 amphibians living in here. I've seen them for several days in a row. Every time I come out, they hit the water. And I try not to bother them too much other than to sit here and watch for them to come back up when they need to breathe. in the foreground, you can see a small fountain, and the wind has blown it up on the rocks in the foreground on the left there, but that is a solar-powered pond aerator. I have like 3 of them on hand, and I think I spent between $1 and $10 for them each. I can't remember now. I don't remember when I got them, but they run on pure solar power. There are no wires, no batteries, there's no electricity, nothing you have to worry about. It floats along on the surface of the pond, and whenever the sun's out, that powers the fountain action, and it keeps your water aerated. Anytime you have anything on your property that holds water, you want to make sure to aerate it if that water's going to be there more than 2 days. Because in like 3 days, a mosquito can have laid eggs, and you're getting more mosquitoes. And frankly, their populations are doing just fine. They don't need our help. So even though the pond's not finished, I broke out the aerator to keep the water from going stagnant, and to keep it moving, and to keep it oxygenated. And I'm so glad I did, because look at the little guys in there living. I cannot believe that. When I saw them, I was so excited. I ran next door to my folks' house, told them all about it, called people on the phone. This kind of thing makes me really happy, and I'm fairly sure that I know somebody who can help me identify them. So probably within the next few days I'll know what species they are. But if you want to make a really, really easy backyard pond, all you need to do, and it's cheap. I mean, you can't get cheaper than this. $4 at certain stores, you can buy a small tarp. If you want a small garden pond, just dig a hole, put the tarp along the sides. You can also buy, the different waterproofing and pond lining things, but a $4 tarp will do the same thing. And then just gather stones up around you. I mean, be careful. There are places you're not allowed to. State and national parks, places like that, you're not allowed to go pick up stones and carry them home with you. So, watch the laws around the area in which you live. You might be able to, if you want to, you can buy stones to line your pond. If you buy a truckload of rocks and have them delivered, it's usually fairly cheap. But, I mean, $4 is really all you'd have to pay for the pond itself. And then, like I said, you're going to want some sort of aeration or filtration in it. And I just have the aerator going, and it goes all the time. Breezes blow it around, sun comes out, it works. It's just enough to keep it going and keep it oxygenated. And I think that's wonderful. I think the frogs are wonderful. It wasn't a whole lot of work. I just dug a hole, stuck a tarp in, and I'm lining it with rocks. So this is something really cheap and easy you could do, and you could get it done in just a few hours if you put your mind to it. If you had a couple of people moving rocks, and you just dug a quick little hole, threw a tarp in it, and then had someone help you carry rocks over, you could probably get it done in an hour to an hour and a half. And like I said, you could do it very, very cheaply, and it's definitely worth it. It brings wildlife. It helps to add an element of water in your garden, which is always soothing and relaxing. If you've got a little aerator that makes a fountain noise, you hear the running water. You can also put up, if you want to go whole hog with it, you can put in filtration systems and things like that. You can put in waterfalls. You can do all this complicated stuff that runs you into more money, but a really quick, simple, cheap way to do it: dig a hole, put down a tarp, put down some rocks, and done. Aerate it, and you have your pond. So anyway, I thank you for joining me for this episode, everybody. And just go out there and enjoy everything you're doing, and take the moments to really notice the details, notice the small things, because those are the things that at the end of the day are really worth noticing. And I hope to see you again soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.